بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. The greatest test that Allah sent us, each and every one of us, is not our wealth, it's not governments, it's not food, hunger, provision. What's the greatest test that Allah gave us in our day-to-day lives? I'm going to ask all of you. What's the greatest test that Allah gave human beings? Sorry? We're saying children. That's one example from this category. What's the greatest test Allah gave human beings?
Fighting against your nafs.
Okay, you're saying your nafs, your ego. Yes.
Holding on to religion.
Sorry, holding on to your religion. Yes. So what pushes you away from your religion? And what makes life most difficult for us day to day? He said children. Somebody's going to say wife. Somebody will say husband. Somebody will say neighbors, friends. What's in common? People. Allah says in the Quran, وَجَعَلْنَا بَعْضَكُمْ لِبَعْضٍ فِتْنَةً أَتَصْبِرُونَ وَكَانَ رَبُّكَ بَصِيرًا. We make people tests for other people to see would you be patient. And Allah can see all things. Human beings. Everything in this world is subject to certain laws. If I drop this bottle, it falls. The law of physics, aerodynamics, Bernoulli's principle. Everything is subject to laws, biology, physics, chemistry. Everything you see in the world around you has some kind of regularity. You can predict what's about to happen. You can calculate, except one, human beings. The unpredictable creatures of this earth. The mother gives birth to a child, feeds the child, looks after the child, gives the child everything, and suddenly the child says, I don't want to know you. A couple get married, brilliant relationship, everything's lovey-dovey, honeymoon period, things are perfect. Suddenly, it breaks apart. The most unpredictable element in this world is human beings. And Surah Yusuf is the story of one man, a prophet of Allah. And the greatest test of this young man is the people around him. Every person he interacts with in some way, shape or form is trying to dig a grave for him. And yet at the end of the story, he comes out unscathed. At many points in time in this young man's life, he feels like the whole world has gathered against him. Everyone is an opponent. Nobody's his friend. Nobody's rooting for him. The people who he trusts, they betray him. And that's the toughest thing. You see, it is easier to be betrayed or to be tested or to receive difficulty from somebody you don't know. Yesterday I was walking in Altrincham dressed like this. Rookie mistake, right? Walking in Altrincham dressed like this. There's a man, he's urinating on the wall. While urinating, he looks around and he sees me and he thinks, goodness, what's this guy doing in my ends? And he starts screaming, Assalamu alaikum! Alright, Dave, thank you very much. And I just keep walking, right? I'm not bothered, right? But if a sibling, or a child, or a parent, or a cousin of mine sends me a dagger, stabs me behind the back, gossips with me to another relative, that hurts. But if Dave screams Assalamu alaikum, I'm not bothered. The closer they are, the harder it pains. Yusuf alayhi salam, his life is a story of a young man who constantly is hurt by the people only closest to him. This is the greatest test. The greatest tests are given to the prophets. And the greatest test of each prophet was given to them by the people closest to them. Could you give me some examples? What was the greatest test of the Prophet Nuh alayhi salam? His son. The greatest test of Lut, his wife. The greatest test Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam? His own uncles, his own cousins, his own kin. Every prophet, the greatest test of Ibrahim alayhi salam, his father and his son, who he's told to slaughter, who he has to leave in the middle of the desert. In all of this we see it culminates in the story of Yaqub and Yusuf alayhi salam. When you read, it's called Surah Yusuf, but the star of the story is not just Yusuf, it's the Prophet Yaqub, Abu Yusuf. Abu Yusuf is tested by his own sons. All of them, not one of them. A whole gang. Yusuf alayhi salam is tested by his father, by his brothers, by a caravan man who picks him up with a smile only to then stab him in the back and sell him for pennies. A queen in a palace who looks after him, treats him like a son, only to then suddenly try to seduce him out of the building and land him in prison. A companion, a friend in the prison who he interprets a dream for, he does a favor to him only for the same person to forget him once he gets out of the prison. Where's my counter favor, man? I interpreted your dream. فَأَنْسَاهُ الشَّيْطَانُ ذِكْرَ رَبِّهِ فَلَبِثَ فِي السِّجْنِ بِضْعَ سِنِينَ. He forgets about Yusuf and he moves on. This is the cycle of Yusuf's life. He starts to trust somebody and then they give him one in the back. First his brothers, then the caravan guy who picks him, looks up. Look, I found a young man. Yusuf alayhi salam was thinking, great, my savior. Picks him up and he's thinking, he's got dollar signs in his eyes, thinking, how much am I going to sell this young man for? Goes to the palace. They say, oh, let's adopt him as a son. He thinks, finally, I get a mother and a father. Oh, isn't that adorable? The mother looking as a cute little child. And then all of a sudden, just as he trusts her, she seduces him. Okay? Now what happens to someone? Some of us have experienced this. When you keep getting burned by the people closest to you again and again and again, what happens to you? You keep being betrayed by the people who you trust, what happens?
People usually lock themselves away from others.
That's it, you just say, you know what, human beings, I'm done. I'm done with human beings. Thank you, it was really nice, you know, all the uncles, fathers, brothers, sisters, cousins, everybody. It's really nice to know you guys. I've had just about enough of wretched, treacherous people and I've resigned. This is the test. The hardest thing is what the Prophet ﷺ said. Sil man qata'ak, connect to those who cut off from you. Wa'fu amman zalamak, forgive those who have wronged you. Oh boy, that's very difficult. You see, Yusuf alayhi salam, everything in his life tells him, run away from people and cut them out of your life. You know what they say in today's world? Toxic people, toxic friends, toxic this, cut them out of your life. This is what Yusuf alayhi salam should do, given everything he's been through, but he doesn't. Yusuf alayhi salam teaches us the art of dealing with people. The first principle in the story of Yusuf that gives him the energy and the patience to deal with people is the lesson that he learns from his father. The lesson his father teaches him about people. When he tells his father, my father, I have a dream, and I saw this in my dream, his father says to him, قال يا بني لا تقصص رؤياك على إخوتك فيكيدوا لك كيدا. Lesson 1 in the life lessons of Yusuf alayhi salam in dealing with people. Lesson 1, not all people have the right intentions. There are evil people. There are shayateen ins. There are people who act like devils. They may be your brothers, they may be Muslims, they may be imams, they may be everything. But there are people who have the worst intentions at heart. When you see the signs of such people, don't be so naive, my boy. Don't be naive with them. Be smarter than them. Don't be so open with them. Don't bring them into your inner circle. Don't be best mates with them. Be careful. You open up to them. Next thing you know, you'll be finding yourself 7 foot underneath in a ditch. First lesson from Abu Yusuf to his son. Not me. Prophet Yaqub alayhi salam to his son. My son, not everybody has the best intentions at heart. But إن الشيطان للإنسان عدو مبين. Don't blame those people. Don't write them off. Shaitan is influencing them. He is the enemy, not your brothers. You see that subtle, important lesson. Lesson 2 in the life of Yusuf alayhi salam. These are the foundations of everything he does in life. There are people who are evil and who are horrible and who have negative intentions. We shouldn't give them, they shouldn't be in our inner circle. We shouldn't tell them our secrets. But don't treat them as enemies. Treat them with kindness. Your enemy is the shaitan. He is the one who's trying to create rifts between you, not those people. People can change. Shaitan cannot change. Blame the shaitan and be forgiving to those people. His father is teaching him intelligence, social intelligence, and mercy at the same time. Then his father tells him that Yusuf alayhi salam, you are special. And if there's anything special in you, be ready, because people will start to envy you and be jealous of you, and they will start to act out that jealousy. وَكَذَلِكَ يَجْتَبِيكَ رَبُّكَ وَيُعَلِّمُكَ مِن تَأْوِيلِ الْأَحَادِيثِ وَيُتِمُّ نِعْمَتَهُ عَلَيْكَ وَعَلَى آلِ يَعْقُوبَ كَمَا أَتَمَّهَا عَلَى أَبَوَيْكَ مِن قَبْلُ إِبْرَاهِيمَ وَإِسْحَاقَ إِنَّ رَبَّكَ عَلِيمٌ حَكِيمٌ. His father tells him, you're special. Allah gave you something he didn't give somebody else. And so when you have something that someone else doesn't have, that creates jealousy. Jealousy was the first sin committed in the history of humanity. What was the first sin? The first mistake? The young lads with their backs on the wall. You guys are falling asleep because you're in a nice, relaxed position. What was the first sin ever committed? Yes, Uncle, you tell us. Uncle is doing you guys a favor, you see. Yes, Uncle.
Murder.
Before the murder. The first sin that was ever committed, not in this dunya, it was committed in heaven.
Approaching the tree.
Approaching the tree. Even before approaching the tree.
Iblis then bow down.
Aha. The disobedience of Iblis. Why didn't he bow down to Adam? Jealousy. Why is he special? Why I gotta bow down to him? I'm the supervisor here. Who's this new guy? I gotta bow down to him. He can cut my toenails. I'm not gonna bow down to him. Ana khayrun minhu. I'm better than him. The arrogance was closely linked with the jealousy. Why is he getting the special treatment, not me? Jealousy prevented Iblis from bowing down to Allah. Jealousy caused Qabil to murder Habil. Jealousy can kill if you don't nip it in the bud. In the hearts of human beings, Allah has placed His potent poison, jealousy. His father is teaching him, you are special, people will be jealous of you and they will act it out on you. But you know what? I'm just going to leave you with 4 words. And these are the last 4 words that Yusuf hears from his father before he disappears into the desert for decades. What are these last 4 words? What are the last 4 words Yusuf hears from his father before he disappears? Yunus, tafadhal. Inna rabbaka alimun hakim. Yusuf, 100% definitely, your Lord, He knows everything and He's incredibly wise. That's it. The last words he heard from his father. The last words Yusuf heard from his father gives us the 3rd principle in dealing with people. You are not dealing with people, you are dealing with Allah, the Lord of people. This is a really deep point. I'm just going to pause for a moment. You're walking on the road and Dave yells out, Salam Alaikum, and tells you to go back to your country. That's not coming from Dave. That boomerang came directly from Allah for you to test your patience. You reach home and you get into an argument with your spouse. You're not dealing with your spouse. Your Lord, the Lord of your spouse, sent your spouse to you to have that argument, to check your character. You're at home and you get a call from your neighbor. He says, I'm running out of funds, I can't pay the rent this month. You're not talking to your neighbor. The Lord of your neighbor sent him to see if you'll be generous. You're not dealing with people. You're dealing with Allah. People are just illusions. They're just in the way. They're just middlemen. This is the mindset Yaqub teaches his son. Treat people as though they're just a middleman. They're an intermediary. You're dealing with Allah. He knows everything and He's all wise. Treat people as though Allah sent them to you. Don't treat them like they deserve to be treated. If you treated them the way they deserve to be treated, you would be clubbing all of them around the back of the head. Allah said this in the Qur'an about Himself. وَلَوْ يُؤَاخِذُ اللَّهُ النَّاسَ بِمَا كَسَبُوا مَا تَرَكَ عَلَى ظَهْرِهَا مِنْ دَابَّةٍ. If Allah treated people the way they deserve to be treated, there would be nobody left on the face of this earth. He'd have wiped them off. Don't treat people as they deserve. Treat people as though you are talking and dealing directly with Allah. Lesson 3. Now he goes off into the world. Now the remainder of the lessons Yusuf ﷺ is about to learn, he learns through experience. His father is no longer there to explain to him. Fourth lesson about people. Even when you have a group of terrible people, there might be one person in the group who has a conscience. So don't blame the whole group. Yusuf has how many brothers? 10? 11? 11. Who says 10? Who says 9? Who says 12? I'm just kidding, it's 8:35 p.m. Just checking you guys are awake. Yeah? Yusuf has 11 brothers, alayhi salam. Now 11 brothers plotted to kill him. You could paint them all with the same brush, right? But actually one of those brothers spoke up. قَالَ قَائِلٌ مِّنْهُمْ لَا تَقْتُلُوا يُوسُفَ. All these guys, 11 big guys are saying, let's kill this kid. One of them says, guys, no, we're not going to kill him. Let's throw him in a ditch instead. This is called the lesser of two evils. When you're in a group, this is lesson 4 in people skills. When you're in a group and they all want to go the wrong direction, at the very least, see if you can tweak their direction. If you can't send them in the right direction, at least bring them to the lesser of two evils. Guys, let's not kill Yusuf. Yeah, we do need to get rid of him, but let's throw him in a ditch instead. One of the brothers said. It's very difficult to be the minority, but at the very least you can, if you can't dictate the majority, at least you can turn them in the right direction. It's something we as Muslims should think about as we woke up a few days ago to a new government. What role do Muslims have to play in this country? And people have black and white views. Vote, don't vote, voting is shirk, voting is haram, don't X, Y, Z. But think about a few days ago, and I'm not endorsing or condemning, but think about a few days ago, as Muslims woke up to a new government in the UK. It's the first time in British history that in 5 to 7 cities, independent Muslim candidates were voted into government. Not affiliated to any party, and fully ready to stand up for their values. What effect are they going to have? You have 10 brothers. One brother spoke out and he changed the course of history. I don't know how many people there are in parliament, but if you have one of them that speaks up, you never know, they could change the course of history. Don't underestimate the power of the right voice in the big room. Don't underestimate the power of someone with the right moral compass in the big room. This is what the brothers of Yusuf teach us. Don't generalize. Don't think they're all bad. There might be some of them that have a good heart, but they steered it in the right direction. Lesson 5 in dealing with people. You can't control what people do. You can only control how you deal with them. Because the one in ultimate control is Allah. Look at father of Yusuf, Yaqub. He has a strange sixth sense that these boys are up to no good. He could say to them, guys, you're all grounded. What do you mean we're going out to play and have fun and go to the Peak District and have a laugh? No. What do you mean? You guys are all grounded. You're not going anywhere. I don't trust you guys. He has every reason not to trust these young men. But he has good thoughts of them and he realizes, how much control am I going to enforce on my boys I can't do command and control and lock them up all day. At some point in time, either they do the right thing or they will do the wrong thing. I have to leave them to it. I can't control the actions of my sons. Who is in ultimate control? Allah. Yaqub alayhi salam, as he's asked, he says, إِنَّهُ لَيَحْزُنُنِي أَن تَذْهَبُوا بِهِ. It saddens me that you take Yusuf. I know you're going to do something bad. وَأَخَافُ أَن يَأْكُلَهُ الذِّئْبُ وَأَنْتُمْ عَنْهُ غَافِلُونَ. And I'm scared something will happen to him while you guys aren't looking. But when they come back and they announce Yusuf is gone, and he knows these guys have been up to no good. What does Yaqub alayhi salam say? I can't control them, I can't control their actions. I only know one thing. فَصَبْرٌ جَمِيلٌ. I will control my actions and I will show beautiful patience. وَاللَّهُ الْمُسْتَعَانُ عَلَى مَا تَصِفُونَ. You will answer to your deeds, young men, not me. I can't control you. When you relinquish control of people, you feel free. You can't do anything to control their behavior. How they behaved, how nicely, how badly, how difficult, how they challenged, how they scammed. You can't control any of that. Only thing you can control is your reaction. And what's Yaqub's reaction? Yaqub's reaction, the person who best describes the reaction of Yaqub alayhi salam, the best analogy I can give you is the way Bruce Lee used to advise people. Be like water. You flow peacefully. You flow, you fit, a different container comes, you swish into the container. Be like water. Nothing affects me. I will be patient. You do what you want. You answer for your deeds, I will answer for my deeds. Yusuf alayhi salam finds himself in the middle of a busy market in Egypt. This market is not selling falafel and it's not selling food. As if you go to Egypt today, you'll see being sold in markets. There's no noise, there's no screaming, there's no discounts. There's nobody coming and asking you, as they do in Egypt. This is the classic thing in Egypt, by the way. This is the best sales tactic you'll find in the markets of Egypt. Inta min fain, where are you from? You could say China. They will say, wherever you say you're from, they'll say, Ahsan nas, best people. He's not facing any of that because he's in a different Egypt. He's in Egypt, in pre-Hebrew Egypt, pre-Musa alayhi salam. Ancient Egypt. And he stood there in a slave market. People walk past him and they don't even look at him twice. Why would you need a skinny kid? He's being sold as a slave. He was a son of a prophet yesterday, today he's being sold as a slave. What happened between yesterday and today? Bunch of guys manipulated him, threw him in a ditch. Somebody else picked him up, decided to convert him into a slave. He stood here. Just by people, human beings, turned this man from prophet's son into a slave. He stood there. But he hears something in his ear, a sound, a revelation from Allah that keeps him calm. وَاللَّهُ غَالِبٌ عَلَىٰ أَمْرِهِ. Allah has His way. Don't worry about the waves. There will be ups and there will be downs. You just keep surfing. Worry about the end destination. And a big man with a big crew passes by and he says, this boy looks adorable and beautiful. He looks different. He is not a slave. This boy is noble. This boy is prestigious, but I don't know how he made his way to this market. Maybe I purchase him, but I don't use him as a slave. Maybe I adopt him as a son. I've not had a son for a long time. What does Yusuf alayhi salam need at this point in his life? What did he just lose? His biggest asset, his father. What does Allah give him? An adopted father. You see? Where did Allah give him this gift? In the slave market in Egypt. When Allah takes from you, be assured He will give you. But He might give it to you in a completely different context, in a way you never expected. وَمَن يَتَّقِ اللَّهَ يَجْعَلْ لَهُ مَخْرَجًا. Whoever is conscious of Allah, Allah will find for him a way out. وَيَرْزُقُهُ مِنْ حَيْثُ لَا يَحْتَسِبُ. And Allah can provide for you from a place you never expected. Do you think Yusuf thought he would find a father in a slave market in Egypt? Never. how many things Allah has provided you, people Allah has provided you, you never expected you'd get them. Allah gave it to you as a gift, in a way you never expected. Allah provides from a father, and he ends up in a palace. Now he's on a high. He was in the low, bottom of the well, slave market. Now he's on a high, he's in a palace. He has adopted parents. He's comfortable. أكرمي مثواه عسى أن ينفعنا أو نتخذه ولدا. The king tells his wife, look after him, spoil him, give him everything he needs. This is our adopted son. وهم لا يشعرون. And they had no idea what was about to happen. Now, question to the Huffaz. This sentence, عسى أن ينفعنا أو نتخذه ولدا. We could benefit from this boy or take him as a son. Somebody else said it in the Qur'an, not just. Yes.
Is the wife of Fir'aun in Surah Al-Qasas?
The wife of Fir'aun said it to whom?
To
To Musa alayhi salam. Something important to know. There are a lot of parallels between Musa alayhi salam and Yusuf alayhi salam. To the extent that there are repeated words in the two surahs, word for word. Okay. Yusuf alayhi salam is the son of Yaqub. Another name for Yaqub is Israel. So what does that make Yusuf? He's Banu Israel. He's the son of Israel. Musa alayhi salam is also Banu Israel. He's also from the sons of Israel. He's a descendant of Yusuf. Yusuf alayhi salam enters Egypt. Musa alayhi salam exits Egypt. Yusuf alayhi salam is adopted by the king in a palace. Musa alayhi salam is adopted by a king in a palace. Yusuf alayhi salam comes across so many dangerous people in his life. Lots of people troubles. Musa alayhi salam comes across a lot of dangerous people in his life. Lots of people troubles. So many parallels between these two young men. Finding their way, surfing the waves, dodging the stabs, dodging the attacks, the plotters, the planners, the evil women, the evil men, the politicians, the media, and somehow they find their way back to Allah. This is the story of Musa and the story of Yusuf. It is a story of one person against the world. But if you have Allah on your side, you can make it. So Yusuf alayhi salam finds himself in the palace. But now he's exposed to a new world as he becomes a man. Because as you grow up from child to young man, the test of people only gets worse. The childhood innocence goes. First you see your parents in a very different manner. You see the flaws in your parents, the cracks. You see your relatives. Maybe there are people in your relatives, there are people around you who don't have the best intentions. Maybe there are people who have jealousy for you. You start to see the world at large. Yusuf alayhi salam is in the palace. His adopted mother starts to look at him a little differently as he becomes a handsome young man. She wants him. And for the first time, Yusuf alayhi salam faces the most difficult test that any man can face, or any woman can face, the test of attraction. وَلَقَدْ هَمَّتْ بِهِ. She desired him. وَهَمَّ بِهَا لَوْلَا أَنْ رَأَى بُرْهَانَ رَبِّهِ. He would have wanted her if he had not seen the evidence, the proofs from Allah. There's a reverse card with people. There's people who will test you, torment you, devalue, trouble you. And there's people who will attract you, seduce you. They will dangle a very delicious looking carrot in front of you and make you bite. It could be a business offer. It could be a partnership agreement. It could be a woman or a man who's attracted to you. It could be anybody, but this time they're not using the fear, they're using the other human emotion, the emotion of attraction, of desire, the most dangerous human emotion, the most dangerous human instinct. Desire is what leads us to all the troubles that we are in. They dangle the carrot in front of you. And as you lunge to bite, they pull it away. It's never what you expected. It's a mirage. It's a fantasy. It's never the real thing. Yusuf alayhi salam, what is it that keeps him away from getting involved with this woman or reciprocating, returning her desire? Allah says, لولا أن رأى برهان ربه. If he had not seen the proofs of his Lord, he would have fallen for it. What does it mean, the proofs of his Lord? What does that mean? What did he see that made him not fall for this beautiful, wealthy lady who wanted him? Why did he say no? Yes. The fact that people betrayed him, you're saying, so he knew that it wasn't going to be as rosy as it looks? Any other ideas? What does it mean? لولا أن رأى برهان ربه. He saw the proof of his Lord. I put you guys to sleep, didn't I? I didn't ask a question for a very long time. Yes, Yunus, go ahead.
It's because the father was good to him, so he didn't want to pay.
Okay. The king of the palace was good to him, so he wanted to repay him. Any other ideas? But that's not a proof of Allah.
Does that recognize it as a test from Allah?
Okay, you're saying he recognized that it was a test from Allah. The scholars of tafsir have different interpretations of this verse. There are some narrations that say that as she ran towards him, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala revealed to him revelation and reminded him, I am watching you. And he saw the proof of Allah. Other scholars of tafsir say that look at everything that happened in his life. Isn't that a proof Allah's looking after him? From the dream to the warm words of his father, to the reassurance he received in the well, to how he found a father in the middle of the slave market. Isn't all that a proof that little boy, young man, I'm looking after you? Why would you do something to displease me? We in our lives, we have millions of such proofs. Every day we wake up and we have food on the table, we have radiators, we have heating, we have air conditioning, we have clothes. Is this not a proof? Allah is looking after us, Allah is watching us, Allah is there for us, and yet we displease him, we disobey him. But this proof was enough for Yusuf to realize the clarity that he had, the clarity of mind. This is not something I want. I'm not interested in the casual fling, because what Allah has for me is greater. The seventh rule in dealing with people: desire is more potent than danger. Somebody you desire is more dangerous than somebody who's a danger to you, because you will fall head over heels for it and you will not even realize what's happening. That is the most difficult emotion and instinct for a human to deal with. And so Yusuf alayhi salam, he can't be manipulated. He's a man of principle. He would rather the prison than continue to be tested by people. And this is really something interesting from the life of Yusuf alayhi salam. We learned he would rather be in a place where he's not going to be tested and seduced and plotted against by cunning people. Because when he goes to prison, it's simple people. They're all there for the same reason, and they're all waiting to get out. Nobody's going to give him, there's nobody going to play mind games with him. But if he stays in the palace, oh boy, all those ladies with all their mind games. إِنَّ كَيْدَهُنَّ عَظِيمٌ. And their plot was wicked. Their plot was scary. It was deep. It was cunning. He said, I would rather go to a simple people in the prison than deal with these complicated people in the palace. And Yusuf alayhi salam makes a dua that nobody in this room would ever make. قال رب السجن أحب إلي مما يدعونني إليه. Oh Allah, I prefer prison. Please send me there to what these women are calling me to. Because the test of prison is easier than the test of people. Sometimes the test of people is the most difficult test. And so he preferred to go to prison than deal with difficult people like that. Because they were gunning to ruin his deen, his relationship with Allah. That's not going to happen in prison. I'm ready, send me. And so he finds himself in prison. Even though he's in prison, and now he's been burnt yet again in life by yet another group of people. Treacherous people, evil people. People who tried to seduce him, scam him, finally accused him falsely and chucked him in prison. By now, he should say, guys, find me the solitary confinement cell. I don't want to deal with human beings anymore. But Yusuf alayhi salam is a very different individual. No matter how much people have burnt him and hurt him and harmed him, He's still kind to people. 2 people come up to him in prison and they say, interpret our dream for us. Why? Why would they go up to Yusuf? Why not somebody else? There's so many other people around, why him? Inna naraka minal muhsinin. You know, people in prison are depressed. They have post-traumatic stress disorder. They're miserable. They're angry. They want to burn the world down. And yet this guy is here smiling away in the corner. What's wrong with him? Every time we sit down, he offers to serve us food. He makes us smile over the table. He's polite to all his colleagues in the prison. Something is up with this guy. We don't know what it is. This guy is exceptional. So one day they go to him, oh Yusuf, please can you help us interpret our dream? Inna naraka min al-muhsinin. We see you as somebody exceptional. You are so beautiful in your character to people. Even though you are in the most miserable location on this earth. How do you do it? Explain to us. Yusuf alayhi salam, he has the ability of trusting even when his trust is broken. Of being kind even when people abuse his kindness. Of being open even when he is manipulated and blackmailed. He is the man who recovers, heals, and comes back strong because he knows his treatment of people is a form of worship of Allah. Rule number 9. The way you treat people, that is your worship of Allah, and that is how you'll be resurrected. So no matter how much they burn him, he goes back and he treats them kindly, and he tries his best not to be cheated, not to be scammed, but sometimes it happens anyway. So on another day, he tries to help these 2 non-Muslim men. He feeds them, he interprets their dream, he helps them, and then he asks them just one favor. One of these 2 men survives and he says to this one man, "Udhkurni 'inda rabbik." Please mention me to the king when you get out. Just one favor. He didn't ask him a big favor. This man leaves the prison, and what happens? He forgets about Yusuf alayhi salam. Yusuf alayhi salam stays in the prison for longer. What happened to him? What happened to Yusuf again? He got betrayed. Again. He did someone a favor, again got betrayed. فَلَبِثَ فِي السِّجْنِ بِضْعَ سِنِينَ. Now this same man comes back to Yusuf in the prison. Yusuf, there's a dream. Can you please interpret the dream? Now if this happened to you and me, we'd say, interpret the dream? Hello stranger, you were supposed to do me a favor. What happened to my favor? You forgot. If you'd like your dream, you can slip £500 note underneath that prison door and then maybe we can talk about it, but I'm not doing you no favors, brother. Your time is up. My goodwill has expired for you. But this servant from the king comes back running. He knows it's his fault Yusuf has languished in prison for more years. He betrayed Yusuf and now he wants another favor from him. Now Yusuf alayhi salam is listening to this guy speak and he comes flowering with praises. Yusufu ayyuha siddiq. Yusuf, my honest and trustworthy friend. أفتنا في 7 بقرات سمان. Explain to me the dream. Yusuf is thinking, this guy, he betrayed me, now he wants me to explain to him, do another favor. I will do the favor for him. Because I'm not dealing with this guy. Who am I dealing with? I'm dealing with the Lord of this guy. Come, betray me, exploit me. I'm still behind bars. I will do you a favor because I'm not dealing with you. I'm dealing with the Lord of you and he will reward me anyway. So Yusuf alayhi salam begins to interpret the dream again. But Yusuf alayhi salam is still not somebody to be taken advantage of. And that's very key. Yusuf alayhi salam says, go take my interpretation to the king. The servant goes to the king. This man in the prison, he interpreted the dream. The king says, bring him to me. Yusuf alayhi salam says, I'm not coming to him. I'm not going to be his dream interpreter. I'm not going to be his advisor until he does justice with the women who put me in prison. Do justice, then I'm going to come and talk to you. You see, he's not somebody to be exploited. So he demands his rights. And that's really important. And it's the first rule his father taught him. When you see the signs of someone who will manipulate and extort and exploit you, deal with them as you are dealing with Allah. But when it comes time to be firm about your rights and what's right and wrong, and clarify what's just and unjust, state the facts. Yusuf alayhi salam says, you want me to be your dream interpreter? Brilliant. Send me the offer letter, but I ain't coming to you, brother, until you first make right what was wrong. And so, قال ارجع إلى ربك فاسأله ما بال النسوة اللاتي قطعن أيديهن إن ربي بكيدهن عليم. Go ask the king if he wants to employ me, wants my services, he's going to have to bring justice between me and those women who plotted against me. Allah was all knowledgeable about their plot. Dealing with people gently and lovingly and mercifully does not mean you don't ask for justice when justice is required. But the balance between the mercy and the justice, between gentleness and firmness, this is the most difficult balance to strike. But Yusuf alayhi salam waits his turn. He does his favor. He interprets the dream, but when it comes time to serve the king, he says, I can, but I need justice first. Those women are called. They are brought to justice. They apologize to Yusuf alayhi salam, and they admit and confess to their mistake, and they seek forgiveness from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And then the king says, now will you come and work for me? He says, yep, I'm all yours. Now. Yusuf alayhi salam has an opportunity here. He's proved his worth to this man. But this is the 11th rule of dealing with people. And this is a famous statement. Under promise and over deliver. What was Yusuf asked by the servant of the king? What was the demand from him? What did he ask Yusuf alayhi salam? Can you interpret the dream? Did Yusuf alayhi salam just interpret the dream? Or did he do something more? What did he do more? Before that, the message he sends back to the king, he interpreted the dream, and then he said, تَزْرَعُونَ سَبْعَ سِنِينَ. What you should do for the next 7 years is continue to grow. تزرعون 7 سنين دأبا فما حصدتم فذروه في سنبله إلا قليلا مما تأكلون. For 7 years grow, but ration out and save everything except a small portion of what you're growing. ثم يأتي من بعد ذلك 7 شداد يأكلن ما قدمتم لهن إلا قليلا مما تحصنون. Then you have 7 difficult years. In those years, eat what you saved from the first 7 years. ثم يأتي من بعد ذلك عام فيه يغاث الناس وفيه يعصرون. And then a year will come where there will be rain and people will be provided for. He didn't just interpret the dream, he gave something else to the king. He gave him a strategy. Did the king ask him for a strategy? He didn't ask him for a strategy. Why did he give him a strategy? That's where the opportunity lies. Your line manager at work tells you, listen, Yunus, here's a list of people, go put it in an Excel sheet and put their email addresses. You say, great. You go put the names, you put the email addresses, and you end up you draft an email to all of them. You say, hey, I also made an email, what do you think? Manager says, great, I like this, proactivity. I didn't ask you, you took initiative. Yusuf alayhi salam takes initiative because he knows the opportunities lie when you take initiative and give people more than what they expect. This is the quality of ihsan. You see, there's 2 words in Arabic you have to understand. Al-adl, which means to do exactly what you are told. And you have al-ihsan, which means to over-deliver on what you are told. Inna Allah ya'muru bil-adli wal-ihsan. Allah commands you to do what He told you to do. But He also asks you, if you can, why don't you go above and beyond? The trick to reaching the hearts of people and winning their trust is to go above and beyond what they gave you or asked you. This is true at work, this is true at school, this is true in a marriage, this is true in a friendship. You visit your friend's house one day. Your friends, he's not expecting you to bring anything over, but you go to the shop and you get a special gift that you know he likes. And you come at the door. He says, I didn't expect this. Because he didn't expect it and you brought it for him, a smile is brought upon his face. You come home on a normal day after work, just driving home, and you drive past the local supermarket and you think, and you see some bouquet of flowers on sale outside. And once every 7 years, a man thinks, you know what, there's a bouquet, maybe it's probably about time I do something about the bouquet. So he parks up the car on the side, goes, grabs the bouquet, strips the £3 price tag, brings it in the car, drives home, opens the door, and you stood there with the bouquet of flowers. Inna Allah ya'muru bil adli wal ihsan. Certainly you went above and beyond what was expected. When we go above and beyond what expected, we win the hearts of people. You see, all of what we talked about, the rules of dealing with people so far in the story of Yusuf was all about negative people. But here now we're going to start learning how to win the trust of people, how to be great with people. And the first is to always exceed their expectations. And so the king says, here, come, let me offer you a job. And Yusuf alayhi salam says, I am trustworthy and I'm knowledgeable, make me the minister of agriculture. And then Allah says, وَكَذَلِكَ مَكَّنَّا لِيُوسُفَ فِي الْأَرْضِ يَتَبَوَّأُ مِنْهَا حَيْثُ يَشَاءُ. This is how we gave Yusuf stability and power and influence on land, on earth. He was able to do whatever he wanted in his new role. How? How did he get the keys to influence? The key to influence is by winning the hearts of people. He is a minister in a non-Muslim government. How did he get there? By being kind, over-delivering, showing competence, showing confidence, showing clarity, communicating well with people. They said he's the man for the job. And now he is in control. Allah gave him control and power after previously he had none. Now, the 12th rule, when you have power, what did Uncle Ben say? With great power comes great batikh. No, he didn't say that. With great power comes great responsibility. Now you can either abuse your power, and you can abuse and take revenge on those people who troubled you before, or you can show them kindness. The Prophet Muhammad ﷺ enters Makkah, and now, who is now bowed down in front of him? All those terrible people from Makkah who tortured him, attacked his family, killed his relatives, killed the believers. Now they're all in front of him at his mercy. What does he do? اذهبوا فأنتم الطلقاء, go, you're all free. The art of power and influence is using your influence to protect the vulnerable and show mercy to those who have wronged. Yusuf alayhi salam is in power, and his brothers come to him asking for food. He can tell the guards, when these guys walk away, get rid of them. But he doesn't. He uses, the first thing he does with his power when he sees his brothers, he gives them extra food. Go back and bring your youngest brother. Why is he so worried about the youngest brother, Binyamin?
That's his brother, by blood.
Not just that it's his brother by blood. There's something else going on in the family.
Same mother.
Yes, but why is he asking his 10 brothers, go back to Egypt, go back to home, bring me your youngest brother, and then I'll give you some more food. Why? Why is he so interested in his youngest brother? It's not just because he's from the same mother. There's something else going on. Yaqub loved Binyamin just like he loved Yusuf. And so, what happened between the brothers? What did the brothers feel towards Yusuf? Now Yusuf's out the picture. Now who's the new victim? Binyamin's now the bullied boy in the house. He's the boy who they're all jealous of. Yusuf alayhi salam gets power and influence. What's the first thing he does? He protects the vulnerable boy. That's what you do with power. You don't abuse it. You look after those who need it. Bring Binyamin. He does a quick sleight of hand, and he keeps his brother. And his brothers return back to their father. Yusuf alayhi salam is in power. He sees his brothers for the first time in 30 or 40 years. Could he have confronted them? He could have, right? Guys, remember me? It's me, Yusuf, the guy you buried alive. Now it's your turn. He didn't do that, did he? Yusuf alayhi salam teaches us the art of non-confrontation. You don't have to confront everybody straight away. Wait for the right moment, not straight away. You know, in sales, they teach you to wait for the right moment to sell. Customer comes, walks past the shop. They do this a lot in the Middle East, in the Arab world. They're walking past. You have a lot of perfumes at home. You are not looking to buy a new perfume. There's a guy selling oud. This guy's been selling oud since when you were in nappies. He knows how to sell. You're walking past, having a nice day, going to the supermarket to get some milk. And he says, Sheikh, the pen in your pocket's fallen out. As you look down to your pocket, he's put some oud on your hand. You say, just smell it, Sheikh. It's a gift from me. You say, ooh, this is nice. You say, no, I'm busy, I'm going. Okay, go, no problem, go. You go. He knows when you come back from the supermarket, you're going to pass by him, don't you? So he waits. You pass by, it's late, you're tired. He says, Sheikh, this bottle free for you. You know, you have such a nice thobe. This bottle is free for you. You say, SubhanAllah, milk, it's 11 p.m. going back. You know what? He's kind guy, let me grab. As you grab the old bottle, he starts telling you his life story. You know, I came from Syria. You know, I had such a... As he's talking to you, you're stood there. And before you know it, 10 old bottles are on your arms. You're smelling, you're talking to him, he's giving you some dates, giving you some coffee, you're having a chat. Sit here, sit on the stool. You sat on the stool, he got you. Like a fly, you fell into the spider's nest. Till now, did he sell you anything? No. Sheikh, just free perfume, dates, coffee, let me talk to you about my life story. Now you're comfortable, now he's going to sell to you. Sheikh, I got the premium road collection. Are you ready? Wait for the moment. Yusuf alayhi salam, he knows the art of waiting for the right moment. He doesn't confront his brother straight away. Because first he has to protect his youngest brother. So he protects his rights. They go back, they come back. Now is the right moment to confront them. Because he now has the leverage, he has the upper hand. Despite having the upper hand, he's not going to use it to slap them. He's going to use the upper hand to bring them close. He looks at his brothers in the eye and he says to them, قال هل علمتم ما فعلتم بيوسف وأخيه إذ أنتم جاهلون. Do you guys remember what you did to Yusuf and his brother when you guys were ignorant? Look at the word choice. I'm going to confront you, but I'm not going to have a shouting match with you. I'm not going to say, you did this, and why did you do this with me? I'm going to say, guys, remember when the shaitan influenced you? How you used to behave in those days. You guys, you know, the old days when you were foolish. You're not foolish now, you guys are mature now, smart now. But remember those days, do you remember what you guys did? He doesn't say, do you remember the horrible things you did? Do you remember the crimes you did? No. Do you remember what you did to your brother back then when you were ignorant? You see the gentleness with which he confronts them. And when you treat people with gentleness, when you confront them, it invites appreciation and humility. If he attacks, they will defend. No, we didn't. You don't know what happened. Our father used to do this, but this, well, it's going to become a screaming match. But when he enters with gentleness, the brothers respond with gentleness. قالوا أئنك لأنت يوسف. Are you Yusuf? قال أنا يوسف وهذا أخي. I am Yusuf and this is my brother. Now, this is the big confrontation, this is the big moment, this is the big sell. At this point, he can crush them in the sand, but at this point, he shows them humility. قَدْ مَنَّ اللَّهُ عَلَيْنَا. Allah has been nice to us. You see all my wealth and power and influence that you see? It's not because I'm intelligent and I'm a big man, no. Allah has been kind to us. And when you show humility to your enemy, you see how it opens the heart of your enemy. فإذا الذي بينك وبينه عداوة كأنه ولي حميم. The 13th law of people is how to resolve conflict. And you resolve conflict by choosing the right moment to confront, and confronting in the gentlest manner and showing them humility, but you don't shy away from the facts. What happened was wrong, it's unacceptable, guys, but this is what happened. I know you're past it. And if there's anything good in me, because Allah provided it to me. Showing that humility and lowering yourself doesn't mean that you're going to get taken advantage of. It means that they will open up and they will accept and they will confess. You have opened up to them. قالوا تالله لقد آثرك الله علينا وإن كنا لخاطئين. They say, by Allah, Allah preferred you to us and we were so wrong. Look how quickly the confession came. Why? Two things. The first, which is the 14th role of people, time is a healer. Any conflict you have, any person that you have an issue with, give it time. Wait. Choose your moment carefully. How long has Yusuf ﷺ waited to have this chat with them? 40 years. By now, both parties have healed and forgotten and moved on. Now he can have a calm conversation with them. But also, the humility, the gentleness with which he speaks to them. But also, he reminds them of Allah. And that breaks their heart. Any arrogance, any pride, any anger they had, it evaporates the moment he mentions the name of Allah. إِنَّهُ مَن يَتَّقِ وَيَصْبِرْ فَإِنَّ اللَّهَ لَا يُضِيعُ أَجْرَ الْمُحْسِنِينَ. He says, my brothers, whoever fears Allah and is patient, Allah will never waste your efforts. The moment he says the name of Allah, they crumble and they melt in his presence because the fear of Allah enters their hearts. They then go back to his father. He forgives them. This is the hardest law of people. Is after you have time and after you have a conversation and after you work it out, to forgive and to forget. By Allah, there is almost no obligation towards people that is more difficult than the obligation of forgiving them. قَالَ لَا تَثْرِيبَ عَلَيْكُمُ الْيَوْمِ. Guys, I'm not going to blame you today. يَغْفِرُ اللَّهُ لَكُمْ. Allah will forgive you. Look at the certainty. وَهُوَ أَرْحَمُ الرَّاحِمِينَ. And Allah is the most merciful and the giver of mercy. These young men take the shirt of Yusuf back to his father. And his father, Yaqub alayhi salam, his eyesight comes back. And when his eyesight comes back, Yaqub alayhi salam's sons finally seek his forgiveness for all the wrong they committed. Baba, we were wrong. We tried to murder your son. We did all these lies, all this cunning, planning, plotting. We troubled so much. We're sorry. وَإِن كُنَّا لَخَاطِئِينَ. كُنَّا خَاطِئِينَ. Oh my father, they said, oh our father, forgive us because we made a mistake. And what does their father say immediately? قَالَ سَوْفَ أَسْتَغْفِرُ لَكُمْ رَبِّي إِنَّهُ هُوَ الْغَفُورُ الرَّحِيمُ. I will ask forgiveness for you later on, because Allah is the most forgiving and merciful. Why later on? Why not straight away? Yaqub alayhi salam can ask forgiveness for them straight away. Why later on? Why is he postponing? Sawfa, later, after. Yaqub alayhi salam can ask forgiveness for them straight away. But why does he postpone it to later? Make dua? Because he is going to ask Allah's forgiveness for his sons in the last third of the night. The highest form of mercy with people and the highest form of dealing with people is not just to forgive them, but to wait till the last third of the night and to ask Allah to forgive them. Ya Allah. This is why Yaqub alayhi salam, his forgiveness was greater than the forgiveness of Yusuf. He didn't just forgive them. He waited till the last of the night and he made sure Allah wiped his books of their mistakes, not just him. Now, we come to the end of the story. And Yusuf alayhi salam, his parents, his siblings all come together. And they fall in prostration in front of him. And Yusuf alayhi salam at this point in time turns to Allah. And this is the last secret to dealing with people. The good, the bad, the ugly of people in our lives. The huge test that Allah gave us. This last statement of Yusuf. As all these people who were his enemies came in front of him and made sujood in front of him, and he stood there thinking, my dream has finally come true. وقال يا أبت هذا تأويل رؤياي من قبل قد جعلها ربي حقا. My father, Allah made my dream come true. وقد أحسن بي إذ أخرجني من السجن. My father, Allah has been so kind to me when he took me out of prison. وجاء بكم من البدو من بعد أن نزغ الشيطان بيني وبين إخوتي. Allah brought you all back to me after Shaitan caused a rift between us. إن ربي لطيف لما يشاء إنه هو العليم الحكيم. My Lord is so gentle and subtle and mysterious in his ways. He is so knowledgeable and full of wisdom. The last rule of dealing with people is that when you get tired of those people, and when you want to reunite with those people, and when they are giving you a hard time, and when they are giving you a good time, make sure that during all of this time, you are talking to and speaking to the Lord of those people. Dua. Does anybody here have the key to somebody's heart? You know, sometimes the women, they say the key to a man's heart is through his stomach. I'm telling you, that's not the key to a man's heart. They can try. The keema can only be so delicious, but you know, there's a limitation. Who has the key to the hearts of people? Allah. When people close off to you, when people are nice to you, whatever test you have from other people, speak to Allah, He has the keys. Something happens to your phone, it stops working. Where do you go? You go to the repair shop. Something's wrong with my phone. Why? They have some special software key to have access to the phone. Speak to the one with the keys. Allah will resolve your conflicts, enhance your relationships, and unite the hearts of the people. رب قد آتيتني من الملك وعلمتني من تأويل الأحاديث. He says, Oh Allah, you gave me all this kingdom, and you taught me these skills of interpreting dreams. فاطر السماوات والأرض. You originated the heavens and the earth. أنت وليي في الدنيا والآخرة. You are my closest protecting friend in this world and the hereafter. Because when every human being tests you, comes into your life or disappears from your life, you need to know one very important thing. People may come and go, but Allah remains. People may betray you, but Allah will not. Allah is the closest protecting friend that we can have. People will always disappoint you if you place your expectations in them, but Allah will never disappoint you. This is why the last sentence of Yusuf in the story. Oh Allah, the king of Egypt betrayed me and his queen seduced me. The sellers in the market poached me and they exploited me. My brothers tried to murder me. Nobody looked out for me. Nobody cleared my name. But oh Allah, you never disappointed me. Anta waliyyi fi dunya wal akhirah. In this world and in the hereafter, you are my closest, most reliable, most trustworthy friend. Tawaffani musliman let me die upon your submission, وَأَلْحِقَنِي بِالصَّالِحِينَ, and let my grandchildren, my future generations, be those who serve. ذَلِكَ مِنْ أَنْبَاءِ الْغَيْبِ نُوحِيهِ إِلَيْكَ. Now Allah talks to the Prophet ﷺ. Oh Muhammad, this is a story that you never know, it was from the unseen. وَمَا كُنْتَ لَدَيْهِمْ إِذْ أَجْمَعُوا أَمْرَهُمْ وَهُمْ يَمْكُرُونَ. Oh Muhammad, you are not there to protect Yusuf from his brothers. You were not there to protect Musa from the rebels of Fir'aun. You were not there, but I was there. The lesson of this story. There's so much guidance in here in terms of the greatest test of our lives, which is dealing with people. But the greatest lesson of all is that the more you love Allah and you spend time with Him, the less you expect, the less you are burdened, the less you are heartbroken, because your heart is only with Allah. It's not with any human being. وصلى الله وسلم وبارك على نبينا